Education is simply the soul of a society as it passes from one generation to another. This phrase is rightly said by G. K. Chesterton. It means education connects you with the stories, theories, and accomplishments for faraway cultures and generations. It offers you a body of knowledge greater than you can ever gain on your own in one lifetime. Hello friends, myself Tushar Patel, Assistant Professor of Civil Engineering Department from the College Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, Navsari, would like you to welcome all in next chapter or next topic known as the navigational aids. Here are the contents. Firstly, we'll study about the importance of the navigational aids, its types, the strength of the signals and its requirement. Then the four major navigational aids. Those are the lighthouses, beacon lights, LORAN and radar. So moving across to the importance of the navigational aids. For safe, efficient, economic and comfortable travel of vessels in rivers, channels, harbors and along lake and ocean shores, navigation aids are necessary. Similar to the facilities provided in the airports for safe landing and takeoff in ships, traffics also. Certain aids are very necessary. These are called as navigation aids. They are provided in the rivers, entrance channels, harbors and also along the lakes and the seashores. These navigation aids may be of the fixed type or the floating type and provided with lighting, bells or other sounding devices and radar reflections. There are many purposes of these navigational aids. Some are listed below. To avoid dangerous zones like rocky outcrops and sandbars. To follow proper harbor approaches. And to locate the ports, especially during night and bad weather conditions, resulting in poor visibility due to fogs or clouds. So my dear friends, importance of navigational aids are truly very important to every ship. Next we come across to the types of navigational aids. Now the types are the fixed type and the floating type. In fixed type we have two, that are the lighthouse and the beacon lights, and in the floating type we have the buoys and the lightships. Every lighthouse or every navigational aids of the fixed type comes with signals. Now, what are the basic requirements of signals? The basic requirements of signals are that they compel attention. They permit time for easy response. They make it meaning clear at a glance. They command requests and respects. And lastly, the visible distance, their visibility. Now, lighthouses. These are tall tower structures built of masonry or reinforced concrete. A marine beacon light lantern is provided on the top of this tower. A tower is divided into number of floors. The lower floor are used as the service, stores and living rooms for the maintenance and working of the lighthouse. The towers are created on points along the shore to guide the vessels to a nearby port. These lighthouses are also constructed on reefs, shoals or other point of danger to vessel. The tower floors are accessible by a flight of winding stairs from bottom to the top. The tower should be strong enough to withstand heavy wave action. The foundation for the tower depends upon the characteristics of the soil of that area. Generally, the thick bed of the concrete is provided on hard soil and rocky bed. In the case of marshy locations, pile foundations or caissons may be used. The basement for the tower is made up of stone or concrete blocks. These stones and concrete blocks are joggled both vertically and horizontally. This secures and binds the block together. The lighthouse's tower must be high enough to account for the earth curvature, so that the beacon light may be sighted by the approaching ships at a considerable distance offshore. Usually, it must attain a visibility of at most 30 kilometers from the lighthouse. Also, the lights should not be located very high to be observed by clouds, mists, and many other things. In either case, as a matter of convenience and urgency, all the requirements for the efficient and unfailing maintenance and working of the lighthouses, like stores and staff quarters, are also provided in the lighthouse shaft. So, my dear friends, this is a typical drawing diagram of a lighthouse. See how the bed of the lighthouse is made up of concrete blocks. The above masonry is of a solid masonry, and the foremost up part either may be of steel structure or may be of the concrete work. The bottommost part is their foundation. The uppermost part is known as the service room, where the light is provided. Now moving across to the beacon lights. These are fixed or flashing for easy identification by the navigator. They are used for the means of alignment or indicating changes of direction. Prominent objects or landmarks, natural topographical features or structures are used as beacon. Alternatively, a beacon could be built in a form of an open tapering framework with a wide stable base and gradually narrowed to the top, like a triangle or a circle. The distinctive geometrical figure is suitably painted so as to cause the prominence. The illumination is both refracted through the powerful lenses and prisms and reflected by highly polished hyperbolic concave mirrors. Now, the fixed lights should be avoided to get rid of confusion caused by the neighborhood private lights. Depending upon the focal diameter of the lens, the lights are classified as the first order lights, the second order lights, and miscellaneous smaller lights. Thus, alternatively, a beacon can be built in a form of an open tapering framework. The distinctive geometrical figure is suitably painted so as to cause the prominence. So, these are the two types of beacons where the base is wider and at the top it is like a triangle or a circle. These are the distinctive figures painted indistinctively. Moving across to the floating navigational aids, first we move across to the buoys. What are buoys? These are small sized floating structures generally in a form of large cylindrical cans and drums. They are provided with through stays. They are employed demarcations at entrances, approach channel boundaries, and so on. Two rows of buoys, one along each boundary of the approach channel, indicate its width. Buoys are of different types: channel and entrance demarcation buoys, luminous buoys, audible buoys or bell buoys, and mooring buoys. So these are the four types. What are luminous buoys? These are the signals that are to be provided at places likely to be seriously affected by fogs. During the night, the buoys are to be lighted. For lighting the buoys, coal, gas or acetylene are used. The fuel is stored in the buoy itself. Next we move across to the audible buoys. For indicating foggy weather, audible buoys or bell buoys are used. Bells are mounted on these buoys which will be sounded in quick successions at intervals for not more than a minute. In these buoys, an automatic arrangement is made for a hammer to strike against the rim of the bell fixed in this particular buoy. Next, the mooring buoys. Now the buoys on the ships, it may be that there are the three types of these buoys: buoys with mooring, spar buoys with mooring, and spherical buoys with mooring. So in an harbor interiors, buoys are provided in fixed positions to which ships could be moored during their stay in the harbor without using anchors. These buoys are known as mooring buoys. Some of the common types, as we have already discussed, can be these three. Next and the last buoy is the wreck buoy. Now what are wreck buoys? These are the peculiar shape and are used to locate the wrecks in the harbor exterior or open seas. They are also used for a sea cable crossing location. See the figure of the wreck buoy, it shows that it has a bottom, the cast anchor, the chain and the buoy itself above the water level and below the water surfaces. Lightships. Now in locations where it is not practical to build a lighthouse, small ships displacing about 500 tons are used for this purpose. These lightships vary in size. They can be a fully manned or unmanned ones with an automatic lights and fog signals. Now the lantern is generally situated at about 9 to 12 meter height above the water levels. The light apparatus comprised of 4 pairs of mirror reflectors placed around the light and made to revolve at a suitable speed, emitting a predetermined number of flashes. Now the bulls of the lightships are generally painted red in color. The name of the station is painted in white and on both the sides of the lightships. The lightship propulsion is either steam powered or diesel. So the light apparatus consists of all the 4 pairs of mirror reflectors and they are made to revolve at a suitable speed, emitting a predetermined number of flashes. These are, my friends, the lightships. These ships in service with personnel and is securely anchored or moored. Lightships are more stable and the lights in them are more steady, with an important factor for a mariner. The hulls of the ships are built up of steel and they are generally painted with red color. Moving across to the electronic devices, these are the LORANs and the radars. Now what is LORAN? As the full form stands as Long Range Aid to Navigation. Now LORAN helps to fix the location of a ship from the LORAN lines, which are graphically represented on the charts. So these radars enable a ship to fix its position with respect to fixed marks. Next is radar. Radar stands for radio detection and ranging. Now in radar, it is used to identify any objects including ships and buoys and to measure the range, altitude, direction or the speed of both moving and fixed objects. These radars can also be used in a clear visibility of navigation or collision avoidance purpose by detecting the objects or the targets above the water level. These are also called as radio locations. So these are the 2 electronic devices in the modern days that we as a mariner can use for detection purpose. Hopefully you have understood today's lecture. Thank you